Hello and welcome to Saving Miller. Today I wanted to show you how to properly cope an inside corner. So I've got this little closet I'm replacing the trim in here. So this was originally done with 45-degree corners. That's typically how they turn out. And over time they're going to move. And so even if it had been caulked and painted, it's still not a good stable corner. So in order to cope the way that I do, I measure from corner to corner, so all the way to the corner, and I don't deduct anything, and I do that for all the pieces and then cut them square. Now initially I cut this piece to length with a square side on each side, and there's various reasons to do that. It just makes it easier to handle the material, and then I can have a process for doing all of them. You could cut the 45-degree angle right away, but this is the way I prefer to do it. So the first step is I'm going to cut that 45 on there right to that corner. This is a 6-inch trim, and so I have to pull the saw guard back. It's inconvenient and not that safe. The second thing is I cut the very top square right to the corner that the 45-degree angle made on the profile. Now I always like to give this a back bevel, and so I give it a 2-degree angle there towards the back, so that when it goes against the other piece, the very front of it will be contacting the next piece rather than the back. That way if the joint is not quite square, you can compensate for it like that. So next I'm going to cut right along this profile side here where I have a long straight edge, and I'm going to move over and I'm going to come down here and cut this one. And that's going to remove a bunch of material here that will have to go away later, and will make it easier to do the cope. So this piece will have a cope on each side, and because it was hard to see on this one, I'll show you here how I cut along these edges. Once again, 2-degree miter here, not bevel. Bevel's the back, this is the miter. You want to make sure you cut right along that edge. And we'll get the bottom down here. Now if you haven't used a miter saw very much, it might actually be better to use the coping saw, but I find that this saves me time and it's not nearly as hard. So now we're ready to run the coping saw along the rest of this profile to finish the cope. So here's the last step. I like to have a little toolbox here, and I do that so that I can put my knee on the piece and secure it. So following that 2-degree back bevel here, I keep the saw at an angle, and I actually increase it a little bit. Now I should note I have this blade in with the teeth, so I'm cutting on the downstroke. So you can see that little piece just popped off of there. If you have the whole bevel on there still, it won't pop off, it's too strong. So by cutting close like that with the miter saw, it makes it much easier to maneuver the coping saw into place for the next part of the cut. because this piece is so long, a 6-inch coping saw doesn't reach all the way across, so I have to angle the blade. So now that will fit right up against there. So I'll cut the rest of these and show you how it looks. So now the trim is in the closet, and you can see how it turned out. It's not perfect, could have been better, but that's how a coped corner looks, and those pieces will stay in place very nicely. And if you watched my video on the door, you can see the casing is now complete. So there you have it, how to cope a corner and cut baseboard. Saving Miller out.